Welcome to TruthStream, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad to be back. I've been doing some stuff, and Scott's been busy as well. But here we are once again with the amazing Heather Holmes. She's not only a friend of ours, she's also part of what's bringing Bodhi, Scott's coffee product, and he'll go more into that in a second, to market. But we're going to talk about all kinds of probiotic stuff. Scott, please go ahead. I feel like I'm taking up time here.
Yeah, no, Heather, I'm thrilled to see you. We talk daily because Heather's my partner in crime to eliminate mycotoxins on coffee in a meaningful way for the connoisseur or just anyone that wants that level of certainty. But Heather's here to talk to us about a lot of recent news and what's happening with our food supply, what's happening with contaminants we need to pay attention to,
And what we can do. And
oh, well, she's the solution, but
yeah,
let's talk about the problem. So
right.
without any further ado, Heather, thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure. What do you got for us today?
The pleasure is mine. It's always good to be with my good friends here. So I'm happy to be here. Yeah, we've got some serious issues going on, and it's not about the border right now. It's literally about what is happening with our fruits and vegetables and meats and genetic modification and everything. And we are in serious, serious danger. So, yeah, this is going to be a little scary as I go through some of this stuff, but it's really important to listen and to digest as much as you can. And there's actually going to be a science lesson in the presentation that I have too, but I'll try to make it as easy to understand and fun as we can make it. But the reason I'm doing that is because it plays into how we can protect ourselves and fight back against what they are trying to kill us with.
Right.
Basically.
And I was just going to say, you've been on our show a couple times. And for those that aren't familiar with you, can you just give them the elevator pitch, Cliff Note version of your background so they understand, what you bring to the table?
Sure. So I spent my career in medical devices, working with hospitals, and I did sterilization equipment for 7 years, working with infection control practitioners, risk managers, and things like that. There's probably very few departments I haven't covered in a hospital, but I worked for a long time with arteries, and then I worked with veins. And I also work with closure devices and scopes and cameras. So I did a lot of different things in the medical arena. So I understand the body very, very well. And I got into Chinese medicine when I was 15 and free range chicken when it really was free range chicken in my early 20s. And I just have always gone the natural route. And I had chronic sinus infections and I was on antibiotics for over 20 years, 6 times a year, and just creamed my gut. And I was on that hamster wheel that we all get on when we have chronic sinus infections and allergies, and you just want off. You just you'll do anything to try to fix it. And so we do try everything, but the problem is we're not going to the source of it. And really, the source of it is something that I talk about all the time, and that's called biofilm. And biofilm is responsible for 80% of all disease and infection. And that was causing my sinus infections, and they weren't bacterial anymore, they turned fungal. So we're trying to take a knife to a gunfight, and it really doesn't work. And so people end up getting, sinus surgeries and everything else. And my dog's decided that she wants to run laps right now while we're on here. So we get to hear her. Okay. So without fail, she has to be part of this. So anyway,
we're all fans
we
of dogs
we
here.
can't hear
yeah,
her.
we're all dog people, so we know
like the cutest corgi you've ever seen. So maybe we'll feature her later.
But anyway, that's really the premise of all of this, is that I discovered what was the cause of my sinus infections, which led me down the road back in 2008. And then I got involved as I realized that the only solution was to fight it with bacteria. And that's counterintuitive to what we've been taught, because we've been brainwashed for over 50 years to think that if it smells clean, it is clean. If it looks clean, it is clean. And I need to whack-a-mole and kill all of the bacteria to feel safe and protected, which couldn't be further from the truth. So that is in a nutshell, where we are right now. And so for the last 14 years, I've been working, almost 15 now, working with bacterial solutions, that we'll talk about in a little bit. So
Thank you.
that's-
I just
You know, the war that this war against bacteria, you know, it was lost when it was kill everything. You know, the idea is balance. You know, this is something I talk about on the show an awful lot about, you know, right and wrong is subjective. You know, we look at your origins and it's about balance, and this is all about balance.
yes.
Yeah.
Everything in life is about balance. And everything has a yin and a yang. So when we look at things, it's never one-sided, right? We always say that with relationships too. It's never one-sided. So, you know, we really have to look at things. Joe, I see you laughing right now, but we
both grabbed our cups at the exact same time. It was a little ridiculous. And totally unintentional.
Joe and I are not the same person at all.
No. I mean, our favorite band is not in sync. Sorry. Anyway, I just had to.
No, most certainly. Neither one of us. Yes.
Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, I just on the subject of balance, we're going to be talking about that, and that plays in to what we're going to talk about as well, because you know, when we think about our health and we think about the modalities that have come to pass, you know, even in the last couple of years, and the way that we are open now more than ever to taking control of our health and really trying things that resonate with us. And I will say, having gone, you know, on your show and different podcasts, we really find that there are people that get this right away, like because you've been in it and studying it, and you're awake and you're aware. But we have to, I don't want to say it's our responsibility, but I think there is some responsibility in helping those come along and helping to just kind of plant seeds and educate them in the things that you know are really cutting edge and really good right now, and sharing that with people, because we have to do that and help people. And there are going to be a lot of people really waking up and not knowing the heck is going on and what to do. So
I want to just interject and say that, you know, your products have changed my life in a variety of ways. I mean, not just the way I think about things, but the level of clean that you get, like when you're not fighting nature, it's extraordinary. And when I reached out to you initially, it was about a skin condition that my late dog had. About there was an odor. I used you know, I was buying equine shampoos and all sorts of different things to just kill everything that was there. And a couple of days later, it was back. And you sent me out some products. I sprayed my dog down, and then I was going to give her a bath with the shampoo. And I was shocked that just the spray alone, it was the first time in months that that odor was gone. It was just gone. And then when I washed her, it was gentle, it was easy. That problem disappeared. And I thought, wow, this is a technology I really want to understand. And then I asked you about formulating a product for coffee because I have an issue with mycotoxins, and boom, we became partners. But I'm telling you, you know, my surfaces, my sponge, I don't know if you wash your dishes with the sponge, and then you smell the sponge and it smells sour. That's bacteria. These odors alert us to this pernicious bacteria. We balance it with a different bacteria. You know, it eats the biofilm, and we're left with a truly clean surface.
Well, I just want to interject that this is a 1969 Airstream, and just so folks know, Scott does not have a dishwasher. He is the dishwasher. So
Although I
haven't
have
had a
camper.
girlfriend in
No, no, no.
years. You're right, Joe. Thanks for pointing.
Joe, I have a solution for him. He just doesn't have room for it because I actually have a dishwasher in my camper.
Yeah. Heather's camper is bigger than my camper.
well,
It is a little bigger.
Scott's very about aesthetics, and I'm not sure if that would blend in quite with what up to his level of.
Well,
It might take up more
you know,
room.
you're right. There is some resistance there.
There's some resistance.
Well,
It's like using AI to mix music. Like,
a little
no.
more effort for an
No.
aesthetic win is fine by me.
Yeah,
it's true.
yeah. We both have our battles with some of the new technology. I'll just leave it at that. Anyway,
But
please.
anyway, what I was going to say about the sponge is, it's really weird. Like when you're using our cleaner to clean, the sponge stays clean. Even if you're cleaning something really dirty, the sponge stays. It's very strange. Like you'll be looking at it going, how is this possible? But I'll explain later why it's
Okay,
possible.
perfect.
So what I really want to talk about in the context of things, yes, we make lots of different products, but I asked Scott and Joe to be able to do this show in our conversations. It's like, yeah, you should come on and talk about this because I see headlines, and I knew when, even before the pandemic hit, but really when the pandemic hit, that the bacteria were going to start to turn on us in a huge way, and not in a good way. I mean, in a way where it's a runaway train type of situation. And we're really in those dire straits right now. We're in that runaway train of being overrun by superbug bacteria. And I'm going to show you some stuff. It's not gross pictures, but just really what is going on. There's a huge uptick, and you can go on it. I'm going to try to remember the website so I can give it to Scott and Joe, but it's a government website, and it shows the contamination and the increase in the contamination over the years. Like it's crazy. And all this stuff was coming out in the news, like bam, 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 on all of our fruits and stuff getting infected, and cereals and meat and recalls. And I'm going to go through some of that in case you haven't seen it, because it's mind-boggling. And we're going to get into then into gene modification, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. And I'm gonna scare the bejesus out of you.
Yeah, but that's where I want to say, we don't do fear porn on TruthStream.
No.
We just don't. This is not
Nor normal porn.
No, this isn't fear porn. This is the facts. This is what's going on. I mean, this is, what did you say? Or regular porn?
I was waiting.
Oh my God, we're digressing so badly.
No.
No.
Yeah, we may do that later, but it's not.
I'm like, how did Scott miss that? I'm like, that's how he feels.
I wanted to credit Joe's joke, but anyway, no, we're not into fear porn at all. Quite the opposite. We're into getting people to settle into what they really are and understand their own power. This is not that at all, but this is real. This is what's happening. And we're delivering it to you in an honest, antiseptic, scientific way. So I don't know. With that, Heather, share the screen.
Let's start.
Do it. Glasses are on, ladies.
Glasses are
watch.
We're getting serious.
Okay.
The scientist part is in the house.
I'm going to share my screen.
Okay, here we go.
All right, everybody see this?
No.
It's almost there. It is started screen sharing.
There it
There we
is.
go.
There it is. Okay. And we are on frame
Okey
one,
doke.
please.
Okay. So is this, why is it not moving?
It's good.
Because we have technological
Yeah, we've had this, like, it worked
problem.
fine before we started and now it's like,
Goblins. No, I mean, we're looking at a
yeah, but
slide.
nothing else is happening with this thing.
Oh, right. Well, if you want to go to do you want to go to the next slide and just see if that
I'm trying.
Oh, this is Joe doing a lot of editing later.
okay, hold on.
Oh,
Let me pause the recording for one second.
yeah, pause it. And I'm gonna share.
Yeah, I started her
All
again.
right, let's go ahead and share now then. And we'll start this from the beginning.
There it is.
And then go full screen.
From the beginning. All
Yes.
right.
Okay.
So as I
Go right ahead.
mentioned, we're going to talk about pathogens in and on our food and bioengineered genes. So here we go. So there have been so many recalls, and this is kind of scary if you look at it, because 13 brands were recalled for sour cream and yogurt and cheese. And then these meat trays that they have at Sam's and Costco's. I don't know how many of you have purchased these. They're pretty popular, but they were all recalled. And the crazy part is that I read is there was already a warning issued to the company of these meat trays. And it took like a final hammer to come down on them.
Wow.
So, yep.
So are
Listeria.
you saying they delayed a reaction of some sort?
Yeah, like they should have corrected it and they just continued. And here, I'm going to go back to this for a second. So when we're talking about meats and stuff like this, here's what happens in the USDA food processing plants. They are required to clean with a high-level disinfectant. They measure with something called an ATP meter, which we have used for a boatload of our testing because it's the most accurate way of testing a surface for pathogens and biofilm and the cleanliness of that surface. So what they'll do is they'll clean the surfaces, swab the surfaces, stick it in the meter, get a numerical value, and they don't pass like 80 to 90% of the time. And they cannot start for that day processing meats until they're at 100%. So what they do is they clean with our stuff, they pass 100%, and then throughout the day, they use their disinfectant.
Wow.
And then they clean at the end of the day, and our stuff keeps cleaning. And then they reapply our stuff, pass, and then disinfect throughout the day. So
because the pathogens are safe in the biofilm and they just keep reemerging and reproducing.
They're resistant. They're like, nah. Like,
because you're not touching the biofilm.
Right. So this is case in point, what is happening here. All these brands, the problem is the biofilm. They're not cleaning properly, and the government has them cleaning with these disinfectants that now the superbugs are completely immune to.
Oh, wow.
Completely resistant and immune to. And this is why we see this listeria. Huge problem with listeria. And keep in mind, no fruit or vegetable is immune from contamination because they're all porous. Every fruit and vegetable is not immune. They will absorb whatever is in their environment.
But that peach probably didn't get listeria on the vine, on the tree.
No.
That peach, yeah.
No.
It's important to understand.
And we're going to talk about this because when we it might be in another slide. Let me keep going and I'll tell you what happens in the continuum of that peach from the time that it's picked on. So I talked about the food processing plants and the immunity that they have. So we have cereal recalls for contaminants. We have salmonella infections now in fruits and vegetables.
And poultry.
So 40 and poultry. 41% of all food recalls are because of this pathogenic contamination. And the pathogenic contamination is because of biofilm.
Yep.
So this is really freaky weird. So when we think about our food, I happen to use stevia. And I feel like that aside from coconut sugar or whatever, but I don't like it in my tea. So I use the stevia and I start reading this and I'm like, what is going on? Now they are bioengineering the sweetener. And they're putting it out there like, oh, we found this bacteria in this fermentation and we created, re-engineered the process in a lab and created the same thing, and now we're giving it to you. So it's crazy what is happening, and there's so much contamination. So I'll talk about what happens in the continuum. So with our fruits and vegetables, they are grown, let's say it's organic. So the farmer uses organic fertilizer and whatever. Well, that fertilizer is sewage. The other thing that happens is from the farms, there's runoff into the water of the antibiotics that they've given to the animals, and it goes into the water supply that is feeding the fruits and vegetables that are being grown, even though organic ones, unless they have special filtration, but they are still cleaning in sewage. So now you take your fruits and vegetables and they go from the farm or the grow house, wherever they are, and they are now handled by lots of workers. And then they go into the trucks, and the trucks are not clean. And you have people unloading and working with the fruits and vegetables that are not washing their hands.
Right.
So this is how E. coli comes. Listeria comes through the water. So even if you get the triple washed lettuce, wash it again, because the source of the water could have chlorine, lead, contaminants, you fluoride, you name it, can be in the water and it can be contaminated. And that is what is happening because Listeria predominantly is in water. So that means that water got on the fruit or they were washed in it or whatever. The other way that they get contaminated is in the trucks when they are put into the coolers. The cooler water that drips on them, there's contamination there. And some of the worst culprit is cut fruit that you get in the grocery store. So we have to really be aware of this. And those fruit and veggie cleaners that you get from the store do nothing. You might as well just put water on it, and water just gets rid of 40% of like dirt on the surface, but it's not getting rid of the chemicals, the wax, the anything else that they use to manipulate that fruit, vegetable, or meat. So there really is nowhere to hide because there's GMO bacteria used in that sweetener, in meats, in fruits, in food, in everything now. I got I think a Jimmy Dean scrambled egg, healthy thing. I was like, oh, this is good because I'm always so busy. And I happen to look on the back of the package in small letters. It says bioengineered ingredients. So I started going through the store and picking up different things. And in small print, it's like bioengineered ingredients. All of the Kellogg cereals, this just came out, they're all bioengineered, GMO,
So,
not
so
GMO.
what is so whether it says GMO or not, what is the bioengineered part? Let's say it's a breakfast sandwich, because cereals, okay, there's grains or whatever, but what does it mean in like a Jimmy Dean sandwich, sausage sandwich or whatever?
So here's the thing. If something is bioengineered, it has been made in the lab. So an egg that's in your Jimmy Dean breakfast thing, or your potato, or your sausage could all be genetically modified. So it's not like you went to the farmer's market down the street and got your food. That's not what's in there. What's in there is some chemically processed, engineered something or other that's in there. And they're putting all natural ingredients on the packaging. Even in several instances, they're putting organic, grass-fed, and they're not. That's title manipulation. They're not. They're adding mRNA to our food, which we know. And the manipulation that's going on of bacteria in our food is very prevalent and is growing. That I'll go back for a second.
This is the thing. I think
This,
people are really paying a lot of attention to mRNA and DNA manipulation and so on. But the bacterial manipulation is right under your nose. And
it
most
is.
people,
And
most people are very ignorant to this.
yes, and
This is
it's
where
not
it
their
starts,
fault.
folks.
It's not their fault. It's not any of your fault. And that's why I'm talking about this today, because there's huge bacterial manipulation going on across the board. And I saw it coming for a long time, and it's really prevalent now. And what's scary about this in particular is I pulled this from the natural product. There are two big natural product shows per year. And one is on the East Coast, one's on the West Coast, and the West Coast is bigger. This came out of one of the magazines. And this, you can read this development of engineered bacterium. I'm like, no, that would go right by everybody, right? We
Yeah.
wouldn't think twice about that. But then I started looking at it and I'm like, um, I don't think we can see up here, but it's engineered processes and like they say we're converting abundant and renewable raw materials into a variety of products. What they're doing is literally okay, so you replace sugar and high fructose corn syrup, but now you're giving me a bioengineered product to do it.
Right.
So I mean, it's nuts. So I'll continue with this because we this is another thing that's happening. Bubonic plague. I mean, really? Bubonic bubonic plague.
Where,
And then
Lived
now
in LA like 4 years ago.
where is okay? I just need to interject for a second here. I think part of what I've talked to Scott about this earlier is 4 years ago when this COVID bullshit narrative started happening. If any of us were told that in about 4 years you might start seeing things start coming out in the news to wake up, people, we would have been like, I think many people would not have gotten involved in this fight, if you will. And so part of why I'm saying that is so many people are fed up with the dangling carrots and the bullshit and all this stuff. But leading to this, where I guess my question is bubonic plague, how is this still going on? Like where is the team, white hats, whatever, if you will, that are part of this, helping battle this? Like this is getting ridiculous, and it's taking people like Heather and a company like hers to help, you know, uh, quell some of these fires that humanity's still being plagued with. But no, I'm hearing bubonic plague. Like, seriously, what is going on? This is taking so fucking long.
Everything's about trust the science, but
This is ridiculous.
no one's trusting the science. Everyone's joining a cult because the science is what Heather's telling you. But the narrative is an entirely different matter. I think.
Well, none of us are given like really inside information. Whether we do shows. There's
You have
people
to you have to read, you have to look at something, and my eyes are always peeled to
right.
look deeper into something when I see the headline when it comes to health stuff and recalls and all of that, because they're like puzzle pieces. I just started, start putting them all together, and I'm like, oh, I know exactly what they're doing and how they're doing it. And these are little things that they're throwing out to see what will stick.
This
So you have,
this
right?
is inside information. This is people that understand how to interpret the data, and they're being honest about it.
The data from
Because there's a lot,
fake mainstream news.
no, I'm saying there's a lot of money involved in being dishonest about it.
Right.
People like Heather are like, no, wait, here's the data. This is what it says. It's that plain and simple. So the whole trust the science thing, it gets really confusing, but
And so much of the science has been manipulated anyway. You have to really use your discernment to see what it is. And here's respiratory infection, and I don't know how it made it onto the slide, but recall of Coke products. I mean, it's happening straight across the board, like all these recalls, because there's no way to stop the contamination of bacteria right now. They keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, using these disinfectants and requiring them. And it's on purpose. They know. And while they're doing that, they're over here manipulating bacteria so that they can look like heroes. But it is not a good thing. And I'll show you why. So, to your point, I wrote over here, wonder what they'll hit us with next. Typhoid fever, the Black Plague. I mean, it's like, what are they going to do with us? And so there is a very good reason, as I've been seeing, with that these increased pathogens are on our fruits and vegetables, and the number one reason is biofilm. Actually, the number one reason is bacterial resistance. That is really the number one reason, and it is because of biofilm, which is the house and hotel for pathogens like listeria, like salmonella, and we talked about the fact that dirty water leads to listeria, and the air, all of the contaminants floating in the air. We have to deal with chemtrails, right? We're bombarded with them, and all the people touching our food, the coolers, the fertilizers, everything that I talked about, and the antibiotics and livestock. So I wanted to reiterate that this is an ongoing cycle and problem that is not changing, and it's only getting worse. So you're going to see more and more recalls and more issues. I mean, we started seeing it. The first one that I truly remember was the Chipotle outbreak with E. coli. So it was E. coli for a while, right? And then it was salmonella, and now it's listeria. And we do hear about legionnaires in there a little bit too. Now, I'm going to get into the bioengineering of food and genes, and I already talked about it a little bit with that sweetener, but let's really get down to the nitty gritty of how they're doing this and what they're doing. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is the bioengineering of genes. And genes can be a number of things. And the reason I say that is, a lot of us know about epigenetics and how genes turn on and off and so on and so forth. And part of our science lesson is to show how bacteria do this naturally. But the problem is, like everything else, it's been hijacked. So you've probably, if you've been paying attention to the news at all, have seen this word CRISPR, and they're putting it out there like it's the holy grail, and it's so great for us, and it's so wonderful. And CRISPR 2.0 is here, and it's headed for clinical trials, and the new enzyme, to target all of this that's genetically modified. So I'm bringing this up because it it all ties together. So we have our food, and now we have our genes. Now, these two things are intertwined because of this CRISPR and this gene editing that they're doing. So here we go. First gene edited meat will come from disease-proof CRISPR pigs.
Ugh.
Oh God.
Yeah, right. Okay. So this is to my point. We actually are doing a study with piglets right now. We're trying to stop swine flu and all of that stuff at its origin before it escalates. And I saw this and I almost started to cry because there's nowhere to hide. We can't hide. They're literally going to be genetically modifying everything with CRISPR. And I'm going to explain what CRISPR is in a moment. But CRISPR literally is going to change your DNA.
Wow.
And they already started it with the jab.
Yeah, they did.
And look at this headline: newly approved CRISPR treatment can change a person's blueprint.
Yep.
Do we want to change our blueprint? I mean, they're coming after us like big time, and they're doing it under our noses. And that's why I wanted to put this up here today. And that's why I wanted to talk about this, so that you're fully aware of what is taking place. So I'm going to talk about biofilm for a minute. Biofilm is only formed when there is an imbalance of bacteria. And that means that we have too many bacteria. Now, Scott and I talk about this a lot, and Joe, I don't think we talked about this, but there's the terrain theory, and I do subscribe to that in many ways, because bacteria will act a certain way based upon the environment that it's in, whether it's a wet environment, a dry environment, and how imbalanced that environment is bacterially. So I put this up here because it truly is our trigger. This is the biggest impediment to our health. And I know I just talked, about the CRISPR and the genes, but there is a reason that I'm doing that, because there's a natural solution to that. But biofilm is literally everywhere. It's on your skin. It's in you, on you, around you. You cannot avoid it. It's there. And there is no disinfectant or antibacterial or hydrogen peroxide or baking soda or natural product that can get rid of the biofilm and keep it from coming back. There is nothing like that. And it's ever important right now with your fruits and vegetables and your meats that you actually are cleaning them with a biological agent. And I will show you what that means. But I wanted you to understand biofilm a little bit more because I do talk about it a lot. But all of these things live in biofilm. If you look over here, Listeria, Legionnaires, E. coli, strep, Salmonella, staph, Pseudomonas, Candida yeast, and even viruses. When you have an overrun of bad bacteria, they excrete sugars, start creating the biofilm. Bacteria, we need bad bacteria, we need good bacteria, but when they are in a biofilm, I want you to look at this. They multiply every 18, 20 to 20 minutes. Look at this. What is that number? This is why I always say they multiply 100 gazillion trillion times
Yeah, they do.
in 24 hours. Okay. So this is how they spread. And this is why the recalls occur. Because when they're in the biofilm, when the bad bacteria is in the biofilm, these pathogens, whether it's mold or fungus or bacteria, whatever, when they're living in the biofilm, they're protected, they're fed, and they multiply rapidly, 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 rapidly. And the more you attack them with the disinfectants and the sterilants and the antibacterials and the vinegar and anything that kills bacteria, the more resistant they become and the more harmful they get.
Exactly.
So we do not want to keep killing bacteria. We do not want to keep doing it. But we have been trained and brainwashed into thinking that's the only way to be safe, as I said before. So this is biofilm down here. So this is in food processing plants. I talked about that. The slimy stuff you find on rocks. This is it on your contact lenses, in your teeth, in your lungs, in your what. So it's literally everywhere.
Well, a significant percentage of your body is bacteria, right? I mean,
90 something percent.
yeah. So you're living with these guys, whether you know it or not. So strike a harmony if you want health. It's that simple.
Yeah.
You're mostly bacteria. I mean, they cover every inch of you.
That's why I said
If you're
they
healthy.
Wow.
in
No,
us on they outnumber us, in us, on us, around us.
yeah.
Why do I look so
You're a
slow?
universe, and they are all the population. Yeah.
So we're gonna have a little science lesson right now
Good. I love a science.
on the good bacteria. And the best bacteria for you is the soil-based spore bacteria. So, we're going to talk about how bacteria communicate, because they communicate with each other just like we do. And actually far beyond what we can do.
Yeah,
And they use
they probably
something.
don't text.
What's that?
They probably don't text each other. They actually.
No, well, if they could, they would. But they do something called quorum sensing. And a long time ago, I saw something from Bonnie Brassler out of Princeton. She did a really good TED talk. And quorum sensing is basically the way the bacteria tell other bacteria are there, and the way that it allows them to decide whether they want to do a job, not do a job, join the group, not join the group, and how they communicate with each other. And so basically what happens is you start out with like a single bacterium, and they have something called autoinducers. Now, these autoinducers are really important because they allow the bacteria to determine, like I said, if they want to, what's around them. And they're trying to find their tribe, so to speak. And once they sense that they're there, and there's enough bacteria that start to congregate of likeness, they will start to perform a job. So when they're working for us, the bad bacteria do this, the good bacteria do this, and they all help to in different ways in our body.
You
But
described Antifa.
what did you say?
You just described Antifa.
Wow.
Antifa?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. So so so
Hey,
as
it's TruthStream. We can say shit like that. Go.
as the
Sorry.
sensing bacteria occur and the autoinducers are allowing the bacteria to communicate. So what they do is they have their own language, and then they have a universal language so that they can communicate with the different type. And there are a trillion different types of bacteria. Okay. So they're sensing and communicating, just like if we would go to a foreign country and we're trying to speak the language and so on and so forth. And they will either compete or collaborate based upon what the autoinducer message is coming back to them.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're very advanced. They're pretty amazing creatures. So just like us, as we were talking, the bacteria operate on either a collective benefit or a conflict. So the collaboration is health and wellness, and the conflict is disease. So the conflict, as an example, would be like gingivitis or strep, because the bacteria use the same autoinducers to form the mixture of biofilm and to give you periodontal infection in your mouth.
Yeah, but
So it's taking all of the different species and communicating with them, and they are they're creating conflict in your mouth.
So we have a whole
So
team
that
of bacteria that want to devour the biofilm that's creating the problem, and then we have a whole bunch of bacteria that are trying
that's
to
keep it going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
So this
Yeah.
is war.
It is war.
It's war.
And yeah. And so this is why we have to fight the war apples to apples. And the only way we can fight that war is with the soil spore probiotics.
So the
Okay.
whole thing with killing bacteria, you're just strengthening the enemy.
Yes, you are.
Bleach it, you can do this, you can do that. There's nothing stronger than that bond. You're not killing anything. You're strengthening the enemy. You're eliminating all of your friends.
Yep.
You would fight, yeah. No, I see. Yes.
Yeah. That's a great analogy. So when we look at collaboration, let's say in our gut, the soil-based spores use that quorum sensing now, as you pointed out, to stop staph colonization, as an example, that can lead to food poisoning. So the good spores are working on your behalf through this quorum sensing and using those autoinducers to communicate. And what ends up happening with the spore probiotics is they will send a message to the bad guys saying, we're here, we're coming for you, get ready.
Wow.
So gram-positive bacteria, like probiotics, are beneficial for us and to use in our environment. Okay. But the gram-negative bacteria, those are the ones that are very drug resistant. And those are the bad guys.
Ah.
And they are continually finding ways bacteria are very smart. So they're finding new ways over and over again to become resistant. And they can actually pass genetically, they can pass materials to their brethren bacteria to make them drug resistant as well.
Wow.
That's crazy, isn't it?
No, it's so crazy. I mean, you know, the learning curve on these guys is unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm doing this today, because I don't want us to be afraid of bacteria. The more we understand what they are and how they think, they work, they act, the more we can start to embrace bacteria into our lives. So we talked about yin and yang, right?
Yeah.
So these two exist, they coexist. The gram negative and the gram positive coexist, but they are both using quorum sensing to determine how they're going to act.
Wow.
So we actually share 40 different genes with bacteria.
Hmm.
And it's really interesting because when you think about that, now we can start to understand how the connection is so important for us, right?
Oh, yeah. Without question.
And
Yeah.
and and it's very big proof that we can directly transfer bacteria from people, person to person, right?
Oh, certainly.
And it also shows that bacteria can transfer DNA to our genes and to the genetic makeup of an animal. And we're animals. So the researchers have proven that gene transfer is also possible. And I talk about somatic cell count in cows in particular, because it is very hard for the farmers to reduce the somatic cell count. And that is really the health of the milk. And because they measure the somatic cell count, the somatic cell count relates to how the bacteria have affected that milk. And the lower the number of the somatic cell count, the more they get paid. And when we were doing the studies, we found that the farmers get paid if they have a somatic cell count of 220,000. If they get it down to 200,000, which is not an easy thing for them to do, given the cesspool of an environment in the barns of just the bad bacteria that's floating around and is, living around the animals and everything. When they get to 200, they get paid more. When they drink our spore probiotics, when they get sprayed with our spore probiotics, when they get their teeth cleaned with our probiotics instead of iodine, there's a whole paradigm shift that happens, and the somatic cell count goes down to 126,000. So the cheese gets better, healthier, and better tasting, and the dairy, the milk, the even meat. I mean, it's amazing. It's truly amazing, the difference. So, do you have any questions so far while we're
No, we
doing
talk
this?
about safety all the time, and you know, that is the most alarming and evident thing we should approach, but taste is important. You know, I mean, that's what I discovered with Bodhi, and the, you know, the bitterness, the alteration to the flavor of the thing with this preponderance of these pirates, these offensive bacteria, and it's so clear to me. Like tonight, I cooked a Cornish hen, and I don't eat a lot of animals, but I have been lately with this diet I've been on.
Did it have a better education being at Cornish?
Well, I read
Oh,
to
not
it
School of the Arts.
as it thought out. I read literature, to it. Didn't seem to help with this one, but anyway, no. But I washed it, in the probiotics. The idea that every time I handled a piece of chicken in the last couple of decades, it's like handling
Slimy.
bio mass, biohazard material, like cleaning and washing, and it used to be like bleaching and making sure the surfaces were disinfected. But what I've learned is this balance of bacteria, like if you don't allow biofilm to accumulate, you don't have pathogens. It's that simple.
And
So
things stay cleaner.
yeah, no matter how hostile to your health these pathogens are, they need a home. You eliminate their home, you eliminate the pathogens, and you're kind of home free. And it's all, I talk about balance all the time. I said that earlier in the video, but it really is all about balance. And everything we've done pharmaceutically, everything we've done with consumer cleaning products has disturbed that balance to an extraordinary degree. And that's why we're having the problems that you're talking about tonight and worse. It's
Yeah.
We're not living in harmony with nature. Killing everything is a really bad policy. It just, it's not sustainable.
But we don't, even in the health field here and working with functional and integrative medicine physicians, which I've done over the past, 7 years, 8 years, whatever it's been now. And in talking to our customers, I'm amazed at how many products they receive that kill bacteria. And I'm like, why did they no, I'm like, you don't you got to think about what you're receiving and what you're doing. I mean, I love essential oils. I say this all the time, but got to be really sparing in your use of them because they do kill probiotics. Now, the only two essential oils, organic essential oils we have in our products are organic spearmint and not peppermint. Peppermint, a lot of people can't do peppermints and pets cannot have peppermint. And organic vanilla. And the only reason we have those two is because they do not kill bacteria. And neither does mandarin orange. We may end up doing something with mandarin orange, like in the body wash or something like that, because I really want to do that. But that would be really lovely. But anyway, let's talk about the relationship between the bacteria and the gene and what that connection really is. So I mentioned CRISPR before, where they're genetically modifying our genes and our DNA. Well, CRISPR stands for clustered, regularly interspaced, short palindromic repeats. So it's easier to say CRISPR, but really it's a gene editing tool. And so our bacteria in our body, they do something super uber cool. So they do natural CRISPR when needed. This is why you don't need genetic modification, because your good bacteria are already doing this for you. And that is, keep in mind that 90% of single-celled bacteria, so not the group, but the single-celled bacteria, where they are able, the gram-positive bacteria are able to get in there. And by the way, these date back millions, and they say possibly billions of years. But there is a very direct correlation between how our immune system fights bacteria and how bacteria help our immune system in doing that. And the way that they do this is they actually go in and snip. All I see is a hand. Oh no. Scott, all we saw was your hand.
Had to plug in the
We had to
camera.
plug in the camera.
That was funny. Okay. But anyway, they literally just snip part of your gene and they will move it for your benefit. That's cool.
That's real cool.
Yeah. So in the
It's
it can
adaptive evolution, like real time.
There you go.
absolutely, absolutely. So this is what's super cool. So if like a virus comes into your body, okay, there's something called Cas proteins, and Cas proteins are really important because they the CRISPR uses these, and like I said, if it's a virus, the virus will take a chunk. We'll use CRISPR to take a chunk out, okay, of the DNA,
Right.
and then move it, okay, and insert it, like they call it a spacer, but it will basically allow the bacteria to go back and identify that virus so that it can attack it at another time. So it's literally sequencing and taking notice of the invasions in your body. And it's using CRISPR to log those like a library so that the bacteria can go back and fight. How cool is that?
Wow.
Every time every time she says CRISPR, I think it would have been a better name for Crispin Glover, the actor.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, it just
My cat can eat a whole watermelon.
I can't
That's
get
what I'm
it out of
thinking.
my-
Yeah, no, any Crispin,
CRISPR.
CRISPR. My cat can eat a whole watermelon. Yeah,
Wow.
anyway. Go on.
Anyway.
For all you Crispin Glover
All
fans,
you Crispin Glover fans, which
Yeah.
who knows what
I'm a
with
fan.
the cabal,
He's
who
a
even
cool
knows?
dude. No, he's a good guy.
But well, we don't even fucking
No,
know
I think
him.
we do.
I
Well,
don't. I'm not gonna
Well,
pretend.
I'm going on what Robert.
I'm not gonna pretend. to
Robert
know.
Bobby told me. Anyway, please continue.
Please
Heather.
continue, Heather.
That was a diversion.
So that's how the good bacteria help fight viruses and infection. However, if it's a pathogenic bacteria, they can steal your DNA.
Son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch. So this is why we get disease. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is why things like cholera and listeria and all of those things are able to permeate so much. Okay.
Most important part of the presentation right here.
Yeah.
Son of a-
So
Yes.
look at this. The amount of I'm going to read this. The amount of DNA that cholera can steal in a single attack is about 150 genes.
Wow. Oh, that's taunting.
Okay.
This shit's
And
going on
let's-
in your body no matter what. Wow.
No matter what. And
Let's not forget that cholera and other pathogens live in
live in biofilm.
I thought I would just, I didn't mean to steal your thunder, but I just had,
No, but
it's
you're
in
right. No,
red. I
Joe,
had
I'm
it.
glad you. No, Joe, I'm glad you read that because, you know, when I say all roads lead back to biofilm, all roads lead back to biofilm, but you have to understand why.
No,
And
no
this
one,
is
Heather, no one's even told it, most of us what the hell biofilm even is.
No,
right.
they had to learn it from Jenny, the
The 8675309 girl.
well, the gymnast girl and the yeah. Never mind. We're not going to go down that road.
I have no
Yeah.
idea what you're talking about right
I
now,
don't
but
either.
Just saying, yeah. Most people don't have the discernment or the experience.
Yeah,
no, but
it's left out.
if we go back to that slide that I had and it shows how rapidly bacteria or mold or fungus, whatever in that bacteria, how it's multiplying, you can understand this attack
It's
then,
so
right?
fast. It's so fast. It's like when you use the products. I mean, it's unbelievable how fast they multiply and do their work. Like this
Yeah,
happens in a split second.
yeah,
It's
nanosecond.
astounding. Yeah, it's astounding.
Yeah.
It's hard for us to wrap our heads around just how
It,
quickly these things happen. But when you have an infection and a wound,
yep.
when you have, I mean, any of these different things, this is what's happening, and it's happening that quickly.
Well, I do want to
Yeah.
ask whether Heather, one question. How do spore probiotics antagonize pathogens, Heather?
Well, Joe, let me tell you.
Well, I mean, it's right there. How do I not say it?
Yeah. No, so this part is one of the most interesting parts to me because, you know, I send email blasts out. I need to send them more, but I did a whole series on, how bacteria work. And this was one of my favorite parts because, I said they send out a message, hey, you know, the we're here, we're gonna get you, right? We're gonna take away your biofilm shelter, your food, your housing. We're gonna starve you, and you're gonna die your death. But and the way that they do this, excuse me, this unfavorable environment that they create, this antagonistic environment, they do by creating surfactant, biosurfactants. Okay. So as the bacteria eat away the biofilm, when they're on a surface, bacteria are always eating and excreting, eating, pooping, eating, pooping. And when they excrete, the good guys are excreting and creating biosurfactants that keep cleaning. But they also can do a natural antimicrobial peptide. So bacterial science, I can't even say that. They excrete exopolysaccharides just like the bad guys can do, but the difference between the good guys and the bad guys is that the bad guy biofilm adheres and sticks and breaks off, whereas the probiotic biofilm floats because they have to have something to adhere to continue. So the difference between the good bacteria and the bad bacteria that just go off the rails and multiply, the good guys never multiply more than plus or minus 10%. So you need 10 good guys to balance one bad guy. So they create lactic acids, fatty acids, organic acids. They even create their own enzymes. So in our products, under ingredients, you'll see naturally occurring enzymes. They can even create some hydrogen peroxide. Our probiotics actually they live in hydrogen peroxide. They live in alcohol, chlorine, and there's one other, and I can't think of it right now. But anyway, that's pretty amazing that they're able to survive in those environments.
Hell
But
yeah.
the other, yeah. But the other thing about them is it goes back to quorum sensing. Because even though they're excreting all these things, they are doing it with the sole job of sensing what's there through the autoinducers that we talked about, signaling, we're coming for you. And this is how they not only get rid of biofilm, but they keep preventing the formation of biofilm because they are there standing guard like stentorians and sending out the messages through the autoinducers to the bacteria in the area that would want to form harmful bacteria. They know not to do that. And that's how the prevention occurs. So it's one thing to get rid of the biofilm. It's another thing to prevent it from returning.
Wow.
So spore probiotics can actually detect what stage the biofilm formation is at and then modify the immune system.
Wow.
That's cool.
It's really cool.
Yep. And we talked about them standing guard and sending out like the negative autoinducers and secreting these things to stop them, the bad guys, from forming this bad biofilm. And then they can determine from an immune standpoint how they want to respond and what response is needed to replace the bad stuff with the good stuff.
That's pretty amazing.
So there is no question that the soil-based spore probiotics are the only natural warriors against pathogens.
Amen.
Now, here comes the really important part. When you look at the slide on the left, this is Listeria. And I'll go back to those recalls. We inoculated the slide with the probiotics right here. They don't stay stationary, they move. And they moved through the slide and wiped out the Listeria.
Nice.
Wow.
Wow.
100%.
Wow.
And that, look at this. This is with 0.1 milliliters of probiotics.
So just their presence, that's it. They're done.
Yep. Yep.
So, and when you think about pharma's answer is to, just assault Listeria with like all these heavy duty antibiotics and just kill everything, it's never effective. This is so much more elegant.
This was actually done by a very long-term customer that we have on our livestock side. And he's a very gifted turkey grower. And this came about because they contacted us. Some of the turkeys had contracted listeria and cholera, and they didn't know what to do. So they sequestered the turkeys, they heated up the barn, and they got the turkeys panting, and they pumped our stuff in and got rid of the listeria and cholera very quickly.
Wow.
So this is what this slide represents, and now we can understand why. And furthermore, if we look at, and this, by the way, this is over 11 years, you can see what happens with chemical disinfection. And this is in a hatchery. These are in poultry hatcheries.
Wow. Now,
And when they
folks, just so
clean
you know,
with
we're on slide 28 of 30. So we're almost there, just to get a full grasp of everything, just so people know.
yeah, and I know this is a long presentation, but I
But
figured
it's thorough. It's very thorough.
No, but you gotta, cultivating an understanding.
Most people haven't even heard it, don't even know much of this stuff.
No, it's like you bleach it, You know, I mean, that's
Yeah.
always been our
But I
response.
think people need to use this as a reference and go back
Yeah.
and really dive into the slides if they want to, and we can provide this for them. I sent it to you. Feel free to share it with people, because this is all about educating. This is my job, is to educate. It's not to sell you something, it's to educate you so that you can make an informed decision.
Right.
And this really is a testament to the fact that when you apply the probiotics and you use them on a regular basis, not only do they have a cumulative effect, but they will control the bacterial environment for you.
Well,
And
nobody
they can,
paying attention to this, Heather. Nobody understands the fundamentals of this. You know, I mean, there's a reason you're on the show. There's
Or
a
very,
reason.
very few do.
There's a reason we're doing Bodhi. No, I mean,
I mean, some do, but it's
very,
very
few.
small.
In the comments, in the comments,
we have
let
some
us
real-
know
we have
if
some
you.
brilliant folks in our
Yeah, in
audience.
the comments, let us know
Please let me know. And
if you were aware of this.
comment, like, subscribe. I mean, come on. I mean, we get thousands of views, and then there's like 4 likes. I'm like, come on, give us a little love here. It helps.
Right, but would it
Heather
be-
understand.
well,
we-
really, the likes are important for you guys, because that's how you keep your channel afloat and you get seen
Well, it's so
more.
more
And
people see the information you're presenting.
This is so groundbreaking, and this is something the FDA doesn't want you to know. I mean, this
Right.
is something
No.
that,
Yeah.
you know, this is nature at work. Heather is showing you how to return to nature. I mean, it's a beautiful balance. It's a beautiful thing. It's something that I hold near and dear to my heart. You know, yeah, it's a lot of charts and graphs, but these things affect you in every decision you make. You got to eat.
Well, this, the listeria goes back to the peach recall, and then salmonella on cantaloupes. And we have to understand why it's happening and where it's coming from, and then it's not going to stop. And I'm going to give you tools to stop it and to help your genes against all of this editing that's going on, and new blueprints and all the stuff that's on your fruits and vegetables and meats, because they're absorbent, and the best thing they can do is absorb the probiotics so that they're healthier for you. But you have to see, and I want to prove to you that we're not making this in a garage. We've been doing this. We're the leaders in this technology. Like, we've
Right.
been around a long time, and I've stayed under the radar for very good reasons. But we're prevalent in livestock, in cleaning HVAC systems, cleaning hospitals. And we have 4-year hospital studies, and you see the numbers here, 11 years. We went out 4 years, and we know that the probiotics do almost 100% reduction in nosocomial infections that are acquired in the hospital.
And
Almost 100%.
the threats are getting more real, and cantaloupe season is right around the corner. So please, Heather, tell people what they can do about it.
Well, I
Yeah.
just want to say this is like a college crash course that most people don't even know about this. And here you are taking your 14 years of this business, but your
No.
lifetime of learning and cramming it into an hour and 15, however long this show is. Like, this is really important information this is a lifetime of your work, really, in a presentation. There's more to it than that, but I'm letting people know, like, that's how powerful this is.
It's a paradigm shift.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thank
the
you.
understanding of how this works is so different from everything everyone's been educated on.
Right.
Yep.
And
Thank you.
yeah, and it's so readily observable and so easily provable. This is what we're bringing to you guys. It's a simple fix. Problem is, like so many other things, we've been educated in the wrong direction.
Right.
So anyway, please, Heather, continue.
Yes, I'm almost done. This is good. Okay, so what have we learned? And what do we really need to think about? That we need good bacteria. We need the right good bacteria, which is the soil-based spore bacteria that we use. And those probiotic warriors will do the work for you. That's the beautiful thing, because you can start replacing products that you use every day with products that are so beneficial for your health and really you need right now to help you fight back. And remember, I said biofilm's your biggest impediment to health and all the stuff that's going on. And it's not good enough to just pit it, which enzymes do, and vinegar, hydrogen, whatever. They cannot get rid of biofilm 100%, and they cannot keep it from returning. And neither can colloidal silver. So keep in mind, if you are using colloidal silver, cannot do that, or chlorine dioxide, they cannot do that. Ozone cannot do that. So we want to fight nature with nature. We want to rebalance the scales, and we want to rebuild good bacteria. And that is a really important thing, is that we have to replenish bacteria, good bacteria in us, on us, and all around us. It's imperative right now. We have to strengthen our immune systems. We have to strengthen our environment so that it works with us and doesn't work against us. And we have to truly think about what we're consuming, what we're doing in our homes, what we bring into our homes, and how we're keeping our immune system strong. And really, that final thing of remembering that bacteria does outnumber us in us, on us, and around us. So we have to work nicely with them. And we have to work with them and not against them, so that they don't hurt us.
Well, and
said.
you
So
said us, but it is kind of us. Like,
it is
they
us.
are a big part of you,
Yep.
get in harmony with it. I was blown away. Like, what really sent this home for me was the pet care products, but I wash my body, I wash my dishes. I mean, like, my environment is completely different from the environment that I had before, where I was constantly at odds with this. Now I have a balanced environment. I wash all the food that I eat. I don't have to worry about listeria. I don't have to worry about salmonella. I
Yeah.
cooked a
And
game
this,
head tonight, and I soaked it in probiotics. Last thing
what
I was
did you
worried,
do?
I I soaked it in a solution of, probiotics and the veggie wash, whatever.
Yeah.
You can. It doesn't just take care of the surface; it takes care of the whole thing. So the dangerous stuff you bring home from the grocery store, this neutralizes in a meaningful way. And if you continue that with your countertops, your sink, your body, the sprays are unbelievable. I had odor issues with my late dog. That this was the only thing that worked. It because it's the bacteria that's putting off the odor.
You have to go to the source.
Oh, it blew my mind. It absolutely blew my mind. And
Honestly, it was a little rough around here.
Yeah,
Because when you walk in, like if someone's lives somewhere, they're used to it. They may not really know, because they kind of get used to the.
Yeah.
I would walk in if it was a little ripe. So thank
well,
you.
I'm hypersensitive.
Thank you
to
very
odor.
much, Heather.
I really am hypersensitive to odor, but
Glad I could help you, Jeff.
she was my best friend. She could have been like, excreting fire. I would have kept
Right.
her.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and she sometimes was when she wasn't feeling well.
Well, yeah,
But and she would sit over here, so you can imagine the sense that I had.
yeah,
to
Joe got the
endure.
brunt of it during
Yeah,
shows.
it's like, welcome to, oh God,
But no,
TruthStream.
yeah, but the larger comment here is just, this is the most effective thing I've ever found. It's been life-changing for me. But when we look into the threats to our food supply, we look at how things are being manipulated. This is empowering in an extraordinary way. This is incredibly empowering. So I encourage you all to explore it. I mean, hopefully Heather put forth you know, a presentation that conveyed some real understanding about it, but it truly is life-changing, and give it a shot and see what you think. But
Yeah, and I want to point out here, just so people know, this is the fruit and veggie wash that I recommend to counteract Listeria, Salmonella, or whatever. The we have a whole pet line: shampoo, odor and niche spray. This is the spray. Now, these sprays, I just want to say, these big sprays, we have been out of them, so we replaced them with the refills and an empty 2-ounce bottle like this, so you could still use the sprays and the products, but they'll be back in stock shortly, and we'll get them out to everybody when they get back in. But we've got pet products, we've got stuff for your washer, and it keeps all the mold and mildew. It helps the front loaders that pull the water. It puts the probiotics into your clothes, which is really nice. They feel different. They really do. Allergy, asthma, sinus spray, which is my baby that got me off of all of my antibiotics and retrained my immune system. Surface cleaner. And by the way, this surface cleaner keeps cleaning for a week for you. This makes 9 gallons of product. So it's very cost effective. And it is also what I use to clean the dishes in my sink and everything else too. Not just my bathrooms, my floors, my kitchen, stainless steel, granite, whatever. It works on everything. This mouthwash, your mouth is the gateway to your brain and your gut health. This mouthwash, just get on there, read the reviews. It works it goes to work instantly. It's a game changer. It really is, especially if you build plaque or you have
It is.
some
Yeah, it's
issues.
amazing to have on hand every day.
Yeah. Face, hand, and body wash. Again, these are products that you can start to replace. Like the surface cleaner replaces 12 or 13 cleaners you might have under your sink right now. So it's going to be a lot more economical for you anyway.
doesn't leak on glass either. I mean, this
Oh,
is
it's great
yeah,
on glass.
amazing.
So I have a question, Heather, because I've only used it a couple times, but I thought I would ask you. Sorry to put you on the spot, but when it comes to either dandruff or psoriasis, there's the face, hand, and body wash. I went ahead and just kind of rubbed it into my scalp because I'm thinking that it might help my scalp. But do you have any input on that? Because it certainly has eradicated the itching. So what happens?
So with whether it's acne, psoriasis, or eczema, I usually take a 3-pronged approach to it.
Okay.
And that is to wash in the face, hand, and body wash.
Okay.
Put the mouthwash into a little squirt bottle
Okay.
and squirt it while your skin's still damp on all of the affected areas.
Oh.
And then once you've dried or you put lotion on or whatever you've done, take this skin spray right here and spray that. And that's what you would use throughout the day, like when you have a flare up or whatever. That's why this 2 ounce is nice to carry with you, because you can do spot treatments as you need it. So that's what I recommend.
And ladies, I just got to tell you,
I don't know where this is going right now.
well, no, I mean, there's a myriad of products here that are going to change your life. The sprays and whatnot, but I won't get into any of those. I'm just saying they're highly effective for whatever ails you in that area. But if your boyfriend has stinky shoes, because foot odor is horrendous and it's hard to live with. Actually, I had a girlfriend. I had to put her shoes outside. Because she refused to wear socks.
How long did that relationship go on?
3 years.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
but no, I mean, it wasn't persistent because I wish I Heather, you could have made that last like 5 years, I think, probably. There was other issues involved.
That were not just based
it
on
wasn't
spray.
just the shoes, but I'm just saying, if your man has got the stinky work boot this will
Or
absolutely
or
eliminate.
dudes, if your woman has the stinky work shoe or
Well,
boot.
sure. If
Well, not only
either
that,
of you
but
have an odor, this is
it,
going to mitigate that problem in a way that you can't even imagine.
yes,
Just
and
saying.
for women, spraying this skin spray in your underwear regularly is very helpful to avoid UTIs and yeast infections, and you can use it as a deodorant as well. So
Wow.
it's
That
not
was
just for
delicate
Now
and
that is our
profound.
now that's our TikTok post.
That was delicate and profound.
yes. And if you have athletic itch in a particular area, it's very good for that.
For men, that would be a cockword moment.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
And what?
it eliminates the problems. Guys, I'm telling you, it's profound. There's nothing like this. I'm just saying.
And then this
It is
this right here, if you play hockey, the shin guards smell so bad.
Oh my
Like,
God.
oh, they're horrible. And so that's going to be your best friend.
Jesus. Okay.
This right here is the allergy asthma sign. That's going to be your best friend because it will take the odor out. You just have to douse it. Just keep dousing it, and it
So
gym
God, I'm
bag.
telling every hockey coach out there, upcharge your players for their dues. Because seriously, your pads, like your
Well,
breezers,
Scott played hockey.
oh, your skate,
Yeah.
they just everything stinks. My
Kinky.
bag,
They're so bad. Oh my
yeah,
God.
no, this
Terrible.
will
Or
absolutely eliminate the problem.
skateboarders. I mean, my knee pads. Oh my God, it was.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
but
I'm
you
just
know, the
saying,
sweat would just. Oh yeah,
oh yeah,
skaters,
and all
hockey
you
players.
athletes, you
Yeah,
cyclists,
it's not just athlete's foot; it's
yeah,
athlete's crotch, athlete's
And these sprays
elbow.
for the
athletes'
athletes when they
relatives,
get
friends.
cut, when they get cut, when you get cut in athletics, all that should this little spray should be in your locker
The wound
because
care. We gotta just talk. So, just so people can understand the power of these products, what does it do for wound care, like an open wound?
what
Because,
a good segue, Scott, because that product's coming out pretty soon.
well, no,
We'll
but
be
I
back
mean,
to
people
talk
need to
about that.
understand this isn't just like to dress up your odor problems. This is a healing product.
Right. And
Yeah.
hopefully to
Please,
eradicate,
yeah.
at the time. I mean, obviously, it's not one and done, but
Yeah, so the wound care product, so a wound that will not heal is not healing for these reasons. You are obese, overweight, whatever, or diabetic, and the capillary beds cannot fill to create the wound cascade to heal the wound. Okay. You have a blood deficiency, and therefore the capillary beds don't fill properly. So what happens is when you get a wound, there's a timeline there, a short timeline for the body to try and heal it from the inside to get the wound cascade going, which is capillary beds fill, ions, macrophages start eating, like stopping all the bad bacteria from harming you, and then the ions to charge it so that it starts healing. On the outside, you've got jumping in bacteria, jumping into the wound. So it's this race against time that occurs. So what happens is you might not do anything to the wound. You might put alcohol on it or, something else, and that an antibacterial is something that you throw on it. Well, the minute you throw alcohol, antibacterial, something that is killing that bacteria, that biofilm is going to start because you've just wiped out all the good stuff. It has no chance whatsoever at this point. And when we look at ulcers, when we look at sore spots, when we look at wounds, when we look at burns, all these things, the outside environment, and especially with the way things are improperly cleaned, they will start to infect the wound. So now, even if the capillary beds are filling and it's trying to heal that wound, you've got a biofilm layer in that wound now. And you've got something called a persister cell that just keeps beep, beep, rejuvenating the biofilm over and over and over again. So now I'm slapping the antibiotic on it and I'm killing all the good stuff, leaving a free environment for the bad bacteria to just keep forming biofilm. Now you've got a really infected wound and it's oozing and they have to drain it. And it's just, I mean, there's some wounds they get pounds of stuff off of. That's how infected these wounds are. And it is a runaway train, just a runaway train. And it's a huge money maker for the medical industry because these people get, just like my sinus infections, get on the hamster wheel and they go to the wound clinic and they have home health care. It depends upon how they're incentivized to heal that wound. Most of the doctors and home health care people are not incentivized to heal the wound. So
Hey, Heather,
there we have an issue.
Let's end the screen share so people can see your lovely face as we.
All right, hold on one second. One last thing.
Oh, there
I
we
just
go.
want to say you have to work on yourself bacterially inside and outside,
Yeah.
as well as your blood. And we have the solution for that as well. So,
Well, and that's the big one. That's the one that dissolves blood clots in 5 hours. That's the one I have my mother on to combat high blood pressure and diabetes. It's absolutely phenomenal. Our good friend and producer Steve, his doctors are like,
he literally looked at me the other day and he basically said that you've saved his life.
yeah,
It literally, like his blood pressure is normal and he's not even used to, like,
they can't understand what has changed, in Steve's life that he could recover from such a vile diagnosis.
yeah.
He's doing phenomenally well. And his friends now are
Yeah, they're reaching out to order it as well. So it's good. It's very
awesome.
it works really well.
It's
So
that real, it's that big, and it really, if you love and care about people with these problems, this is a
Heather's the real deal.
yeah, it's the real deal.
And her products are part of basically what she's bringing to the world, and we're very honored and happy to have her on the show.
Well, I'm honored. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we're not just promoting a product here. We're telling you about some real life amazing results that we're seeing. And not only in our lives, but in
The lives of others
that have much more dire situations.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, we're doing okay. I mean, considering, I mean, we haven't gotten our friend Trent, who we're about to interview from Healthy Beings. Apparently, there's a new flashlight where people can look and
God,
and see. It's like a $40 flashlight on Amazon, and those that are vaccinated, they can look and they can see like certain glowing orange components in their face.
Oh, it's crazy.
And other parts of their body. And then if people are shedding, it's mainly around the nose, apparently.
Look at Heather's face.
We'll follow up. That'll be we're releasing both of these this week. So there's a lot of shit going on, basically.
And if people think there's no shedding going on, think again.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about that next. Actually, Trent's going to be on in about.
Good. Well, say hi to Trent for me. And thank you guys. I love you. Thank you so much.
I love you too.
And just real quick, where can people find you and order and all that stuff?
It will be below, but you'll have your link for people to be able to go right to our website. And we have a nice little discount code for people should they decide they want to order.
Awesome.
And they can contact us via the website. get a hold of us. Once a week, I take customer calls. My customer service manager, you know, schedules it. And I like to touch with people and get a pulse and see what's going on and help people.
I
So
love it. You know, and we love to bring you guys game changers, and we especially love to bring you life changers. And this absolutely is a life changer. I'm telling you from personal experience
Yep.
and from everyone that it has touched.
Well, Heather started off as someone that was a guest on our show. Now she's become a lifelong friend, business partner,
yeah.
a big asset to our lives, and that's the beauty of the community that we've
Yeah, and a
created
dear
here.
friend. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she's not just a guest on our show, ladies and gentlemen.
She's family. We
Yeah.
love you, Heather. Thank you so much.
Love
Is
you
there
too.
anything you
Thank
want
you.
anything
Thanks,
you
you
want to say in
guys.
closing?
Just thank you for having me today. And I know it was a lot of information, but hopefully it was beneficial for you, and it is definitely provided for you if you want to go back and review. But you've got this video to watch too, to go review
There you go.
and see too. So thank you so much.
All right.
right.
Well, comment, like, and please subscribe.
Yeah.
Peace.
Not just here, but also
Resubscribe.
on X. Yeah, or
Resubscribe.
resubscribe.
Yeah.
But you know, we're out there on X. We're trying to build that. You know, YouTube.
We
is-
broke 800 subscribers. So
Hey,
good.
very nice.
We're getting baby
Yeah.
steps.
So yeah, the very best information in the world is very
Right.
limited. So congratulations if you're tuning in.
There you go.
Yes.
You're one of the few and privileged, I guess.
I mean, it's really about our guests. So
It's all about it.
so I would say privileged because we're
It's about our-
privileged to have guests like Heather.
It's our about our guests and our audience.
It's
Yeah.
my privilege. Trust me.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Take care, everybody.
all right, you guys. Bye.
Love you, Heather.
Right.
Thank you.
Love you too. Bye.